What if I told you that by being the understanding, dependable, and kind person that you might actually be making it easier for some people to take you for granted? See, a lot of us operate out of good intentions. We want to be supportive. We want to be helpful. It feels natural. It even feels like the right thing to do. But what we don't always realize is that underneath that so-called niceness, that so-called goodness, there are often deeper layers at play. Layers like people-pleasing, like the fear of losing your image, the fear of losing your reputation, the guilt of appearing selfish, or simply a strong belief that this is who you are, someone who goes the extra mile. And while none of that makes you wrong, it does make you vulnerable. Vulnerable to being taken advantage of, vulnerable to being taken for granted without even realizing. People start treating you like they're free subscription. The only thing is, there is a price. And guess who's been paying the price all along? Hello and welcome to With Samar Naim. In today's episode, we're breaking down two commonly admired behaviors that might be secretly hurting you and teaching people to expect more from you than you ever intended to give. More importantly, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do differently to reclaim what's always been yours. Stay tuned and let's dive in. Let's start with the first behavior. Number one, you're always available. Ever feel like you're always there for others? You show up, you pick up, you respond right away, even when you're drained, even when your plate is full, even when you really don't have the time or energy for it. If you said yes, tell me honestly, how does that really feel? Because here's what usually happens. At first, you think you're doing it out of love. You're just being supportive, responsible, thoughtful. But over time, being constantly available trains people to expect you to be there, regardless of what you're going through. Your presence stops feeling appreciated. It starts becoming a given. You're one text away, one call away, one favor away. They even start making decisions and schedules without consulting you because they assume you'll just figure it out. And the saddest part? When you finally can't show up, it's not gratitude that you get. It's confusion or even resentment. You wonder, how come they don't get it? But here's the truth. You weren't just offering them your time and energy by constantly being available and accessible. You accidentally taught them that your time isn't something they have to earn. It's just there. If you can relate to this, here is what you need to do instead. You need to disrupt the pattern. Start practicing what I call intentional inconsistency. Intentionally make your availability inconsistent. It's not about being unreliable. It's about reminding yourself and others that your presence, your availability is a conscious choice, not an obligation. It's about giving yourself the permission to pause and choose when, how, and how often you show up. It's definitely not an excuse to disappear when things get hard. It is a mindset and a quiet boundary. It's you saying, I don't have to keep showing up just because I used to. So, the next time someone texts you and you're drained, pause. The next time someone asks for something and you're already overwhelmed, pause. The next time you jump into changing your schedules to accommodate their needs, pause. That intentional pause is your reset. It's the space where you remember, I matter too. And maybe it's time they notice your absence so they can remember the value of your presence. Let them match your effort for once. Stop giving more than you get. Because if it's always one-sided, it was never mutual to begin with. And if you find yourself slipping back to your old habits, just remember, the more you show up, the more invisible you become. If you're all for making a change, drop the word change in the comments. Now let's move to the second behavior, and honestly, it's even sneakier. Number 2, you over-accommodate and over-understand their emotions. You're not just making time for people, you're making emotional room for them. Ever notice how over time, some people stop checking in before unloading everything on you? They vent, they get mad, they drop heavy emotions in your lap, and somehow you're expected to just hold it all in. And a lot of the times, you don't even want to, but you go along with it out of guilt or awkwardness. You put up with it because you don't want to seem rude. You stay silent because you don't want to make it uncomfortable. You didn't necessarily sign up for it, but you've somehow allowed it. And somewhere inside you, you've also gotten used to justifying it. You excuse the disrespect. You downplay the hurt. You tell yourself, they're just stressed. That's why they spoke in that tone. They didn't mean it that way. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. What starts as compassion slowly turns into emotional burden. You silence your discomfort. You filter your words. You keep understanding them even when they stop understanding you. They stop watching their words because you keep taking them. They stop seeing your boundaries because you keep moving them. They stop hearing your hurt because you keep softening it. And over time, it's like your feelings start disappearing even from yourself. No wonder you feel taken for granted. You're being emotionally generous. But generosity without limits is dangerous. The problem is you're not just empathizing. You're giving space to their emotions. You're taking them. You're absorbing them. You're even sometimes justifying them when they seem off. And all of it happens without you even realizing the weight it's putting on you. And if you're not careful, it will drain the life out of you. Because when you overextend your emotional support, you're not just losing a part of your peace. You're putting your health at risk, stress, immunity, and self-esteem included. I bet some of you who are listening are either nodding your heads or feeling it in your core. So, what can you do to turn this around? Number 1, start honoring your own emotional signals the way you honor their emotions. If something feels off, you don't need to justify it or twist yourself to make it okay. It's fine to say, I'm not okay with that. Even if you understand why they did it, understanding doesn't erase your own experience. Number 2, start building what I call empathetic distance. You can still show empathy without getting entangled in their emotions. Create that emotional distance to avoid getting pulled in. Let's say someone is venting about a colleague, and suddenly you start feeling their anger, their stress pulling you in. What can you do to create empathetic distance? First, pause. Focus on your breath for a moment. Then, do a quick body scan. See where you're starting to feel it in your body, because your body often catches on the energy faster than your brain. Next, name the emotion. Okay, what am I catching here? It's heaviness, it's fear, it's their fear, it's theirs, it's not mine to carry. Then decide, do I want to continue engaging or would I choose to redirect? Now, if you choose to redirect to protect your emotional space, start creating some simple go-to statements you feel comfortable saying. You can say, that sounds really heavy. I hope it eases up for you soon. Or, thanks for trusting me with this. Is there anything in particular I can help with? Or, if you really can't or don't want to offer more of your time and energy, you can simply say, thank you for reaching out. I truly don't think you're catching me at the right time for this. These kinds of responses let you stay present while also being mindful of your emotional capacity. Use whichever feels most natural to you or create your own. The point is not to shut down empathy, but to manage it. Here's the thing. People don't necessarily take advantage of us or take us for granted because they're inherently bad. Sure, there are some bad people out there, but a lot of times we don't realize how much we teach people how to treat us. Whether it is by constantly being accessible and reachable, or by over-accommodating their emotions and being overly tolerant and understanding. When you don't honor your non-negotiables, people start treating them as suggestions. And humans, by nature, like to challenge limits. When you inconvenience yourself just to avoid inconveniencing others, you end up protecting the connection at the cost of yourself. And that's when being taken advantage of or being taken for granted becomes the silent norm. But it doesn't have to stay that way. The moment you start honoring your boundaries, your own energy, your own emotional space, is the moment you start breaking the pattern. And if you need a little extra help building and enforcing those boundaries without guilt, I've got you covered. I'll link a video in the description below that walks you through powerful steps you can start using today. If this resonated with you, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And always remember, you've got this. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.